Hello students, in today's class we will study about semiconductors. Semiconductors are very important devices which are used in everyday life. These devices are TVs, mobile phones, refrigerators, control systems, voltage regulators and other industrial applications. The study of semiconductor is also important from the point of view of your examination. Those of you who want to score 100 out of 100 in board examinations, NEET examination, CET, JEE and other entrance examinations must not skip semiconductors study. Let us start. Classification of conductors, semiconductors and insulators based on electrical properties. Electrical property which we have studied in the previous chapter is conductivity or its inverse resistivity. Please see the table. Here we have classified conductors, semiconductors and insulators based on their characteristics. The first and foremost important property is the resistivity. As we know, conductors allow electrical current to pass through them. Insulators do not allow electrical current to pass through them. The characteristics or the specification of resistivity, which is expressed as ohm meter and represented as rho. Its value is 10 to the power of minus 2 to minus 8. That is very low for conductors. Whereas for insulators, its value is 10 to the power of 11 to 10 to the power of 19. That is, its value is high. Resistivity, thus resistivity is high for insulators and low for conductors. And in between this high and low, that is, the value is medium for semiconductors. That is, it ranges from 10 to the power of minus 5 to 10 to the power of 6 ohm meters. The inverse of resistivity is conductivity. It is represented as sigma and measured as mho per meter. So conductivity is high. It's high for conductors and conductivity is low for insulators. Its value is 10 to the power of 2 to 10 to the power of 8 mho per meter. And its value is low for insulator 10 to the power of minus 11 to 10 to the power of minus 19 for insulators. For semiconductors, its value is in between the two. That is, it is 10 to the power of plus 5 to 10 to the power of minus 6 for semiconductors. The study of semiconductors or behavior of conductors and insulators can also be studied by using band theory. That is, the bands, the valence band, conduction band and energy gap. Study about these band theory we will see in subsequent slides. Examples of conductors are copper, silver, aluminium. And examples of semiconductors are germanium and silicon. Whereas the examples of insulators are rubber and plastic. That means rubber and plastic does not allow electrical current to pass through them. Whereas copper, silver and aluminium allow the current to pass through them. Hence, we have also observed that there is free movement of electrical current through conductors. That means Conductors allow electrical current to pass through them. Thus, free flow of electrical current carriers. Whereas glass or rubber or plastic do not allow current to pass through them. Thus, there is no movement of current carriers through insulators. Whereas in case of semiconductors, sometimes current is allowed to pass through the semiconductor devices under certain external conditions. We will study about these external conditions in our next slides. Now, having studied about the electrical parameters of conductors, semiconductors and insulators, we will now study about the energy band theory. Please see the figure shown in the screen. Here there are three bands. That is, the bottommost is, here please see this figure, the bottommost is valence band. This is a valence band. The electrons in the outermost shell are called valence electrons. From our atomic theory, atomic structure, from the knowledge of atomic structure, we know that electrons revolve around the nucleus in different orbits. The outermost orbit has valence electrons. The energy corresponding to the valence electrons is combined together and a valence band is formed. The valence band occupies. Here in the energy diagram, this is the energy diagram. This whole thing is an energy diagram. This is the energy level of electrons. So the valence electrons occupy here the valence band. If electrons in the valence band are able to move freely to conduction band, that is this, the top band here, it is a conduction band. This is a conduction band. If electrons from the valence band are able to move to the conduction band, then current flows. In between this conduction band and the valence band, there is an energy gap. This is called a gap, energy gap, and its energy is represented by Eg. Eg, that is gap. So the energy level corresponding to valence band is Ev, and energy level corresponding to the conduction band is Ec, and in between these two is gap. Now we have to classify conductors and semiconductors as well as insulator based on energy band theory. For conductors like sodium, magnesium, copper or iron, both energy valence band and conduction band overlap each other. That means energy gap is zero for conductors and conduction band and valence band overlap. Hence, electrons in valence band are able to freely go to the conduction band in case of conductors. In case of insulators, there is an energy gap between conduction band and the valence band. This energy gap is of the order of 4 electron volt. Please see here, it is 4 electron volt. For insulators, it is about 4 electron volts. In some of the books, it is mentioned as 3 electron volts. So you can take it as 3 electron volts. In the NCERT books also, it is stated as 3 electron volts. Hence, you can also correct it as 3 electron volts. So for insulators, the energy gap is more than 3 electron volts. 3 electron volts. Hence, electrons from valence band are not able to jump from valence band to the conduction band. Hence, there is no electrical passage of electrical current. In case of semiconductors, the energy gap is very small. See here, this energy gap is very small. It is less than 2 electron volt. This gap in case of semiconductors is less than 2 electron volts. With little energy supplied to these electrons in this valence band, the electrons are able to move from valence band to conduction band. Hence, under certain conditions, there will be flow of electric current in case of semiconductors because the energy gap is small, 2 electron volts. Please see here, 2 electron volts. This figure is also explained in a different form, in another diagram here. Please see here, the conduction band EC and EV overlap in case of conductors. This is the diagram for conductors. This diagram is for conductors, where valence band and conduction band overlap and Eg is 0. Is approximately equal 0. There is no gap for conductors. Whereas for semiconductors, the gap here, it is a valence band here, and this is a conduction band EC corresponding to EC, represented by EC and EV, and the gap is 3 electron volts. So the gap is less than, please see this figure symbol, less than 3 volts. Hence, the electrons from valence band will be able to move to conduction band. Let us study in detail about the energy band theory. According to the Bohr's atomic model, in an isolated atom, the energy of any of its electron is decided by the orbit in which it revolves. But when atoms come together to form a solid, they are close to each other. That means the electrons are very close to each other, and the levels are very though discrete, but they are very close together, and some outer orbit electrons from neighboring atoms would come very close or even overlap. This would make the nature of electron motion in a solid very different from that of an isolated atom. Inside the crystal, each electron has a unique position and no two electrons see exactly the same pattern of surrounding charges. Because of this, each electron will have different energy level. These different energy levels with continuous energy variations form what are called energy bands. We have studied about these energy bands in the previous slide. The energy band, which includes the energy levels of valence electrons, is called valence band. See here, valence band. When the energy levels valence electrons are called valence band. The energy band above the valence band is called conduction band. The energy band above the valence band is called the conduction band. With no external energy, all the valence electrons will reside in valence band. Hence, when there is no external energy, all the electrons normally reside in valence band. If the lowest level in the conduction band happens to be lower than the highest level of band, the electrons from valence band can easily move into the conduction band. Normally, the conduction band is empty. This also point you please note. Normally, the conduction band is empty. But when it overlaps with on the valence band, electrons can move freely. This is the case with metallic conductors. You see here, in metallic conductors, electrons able to move. If there is some gap between the conduction band and valence band, electrons in the valence band all remain bound and no free electrons are available in the conduction band. This makes an material an insulator. Hence, if there is a gap, it is an insulator. If there is some gap between the conduction band and valence band, then it is an insulator. But some of the electrons from valence band may gain external energy to cross the gap between the conduction band and valence band. Then these electrons will move into the conduction band. At the same time, they will create vacant energy levels in the valence band. You please note, if the electrons move from valence band to conduction band, they will create vacant energy levels in the valence band, where other valence electrons can move. Thus, the process creates possibility of conduction due to electrons in conduction band as well as vacancies in the valence band. Hence, if the electron moves to the conduction band, please note, a hole is created in the valence band. The vacancy is created. Hence the electrons are moved, a vacancy is created. Hence there are two types of movement. One is electrons has moved and when a vacancy is created. Please see the diagram here. The diagram shows the semiconductors silicon. Let us take example of a semiconductor metal silicon. Atom of a silicon. We know from the knowledge of chemistry that silicon has 14, an atom of silicon has 14 electrons. These electrons revolve around the nucleus in different shells or orbit. And these are divided and classified as 1s square, s to the power of 2, 2s to the power of 2, 2p to the power of 6 and 3s to the power of 2 and 3p to the power of 2. So if you add these, you will get 14 electrons. 2 plus 2, 4, 10, 12, 14. These 2 plus 2 plus 6 are tightly bound to the nucleus and they cannot be disturbed. In semiconductor studies, we are interested in these valence electrons, 2 plus 2. So these 4 electrons in an atom, silicon atom, are divided like this. You see here 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 create a bond with the neighboring atoms of the same material. In the intrinsic semiconductor, we are studying about intrinsic semiconductor in this chapter. Intrinsic, so far semiconductor is concerned, intrinsic means pure, We are not adding any impurity. It is a pure silicon atom. All atoms are same. Intrinsic means for study purpose pure. All atoms are same. Here all atoms are silicon. Everywhere it is silicon atom, and these 4 electrons occupy and form a bond with the neighboring atom. This bond is only for representation purpose. Actually there is nothing called bond, and it is tightly bound combination with the neighboring atom. So at 0 degrees Kelvin, that is absolute 0 degrees Kelvin, all the atoms remain in the valence band and there is a gap. This is a conduction band which we studied previously, and this is a valence band. So all the electrons at 0 degrees Kelvin remain attached and reside in the valence band. But at room temperature, some that is, for example, at 300 degree Kelvin, 300 degree room temperature, the electrons in the valence band gain energy, they receive energy and jump from valence band to the conduction band. So the electrons of valence band have moved from valence band to conduction band. And when one electron moves to conduction band, one hole is created. One hole is created here. Similarly, another electron will create up. The number of holes will be equal to the number of electrons. Because electrons have moved from valence band to the conduction band, holes are created. Hence, at thermal equilibrium, the generation of electrons will be equal to the recombination rate. Hence, we have to find how many electrons have moved from valence band to the conduction band. This is represented by, it is a function of temperature. As the temperature increases, the electrons gain energy and move to conduction band. And it is given and represented as function of temperature. The recombination rate, it is a function of temperature that is equal to, proportional to the number of holes and number of electrons. Okay, this NH is the number of holes and Ne is the number of electrons. Hence, therefore, the number of holes will be equal to, let us say, number of holes equal to number of electrons is equal to Ni. Therefore, the number of electrons will be equal to K into Ni square. It is found that the number of electrons will be more here. Please see the diagram number 3 here. You see, there are 4 atoms. When one electron has moved out from valence band to conduction band, here you see this electron has moved out here. It is not remaining bound to the nucleus, the atom. It has moved freely. This is the conduction band and this is the valence band. So when it has moved from valence band to the conduction band, a hole is created here. When a hole is created here, another electron within this will jump here. And another hole will be, the electron from here will move here and hole will be created here in the valence band. So it is nothing but the process at room temperature like 300 degrees Kelvin, number of electrons move to conduction band and number of holes are created in the valence band. Holes in the valence band constitute a flow of current. Electrons in the conduction band constitute a current. Please remember, electrons in the conduction create current, flow of current. Holes in the valence band create flow of current. So this is also represented in the diagram here clearly. energy, this is electron energy level. This is a valence band. Holes are created here and electrons have moved here. Electrons have moved here and holes. See, 4 electrons have moved to the conduction band and four holes are created here. I'm sorry, this is electron. Electrons in the normal temperature and electrons at the room temperature. At room temperature, they gain energy and move to the conduction band. This is the theory behind intrinsic. This is a pure atom. No external impurity is added. It is internal. Intrinsic semiconductor. Now let us revise what we have seen in the previous diagram. We know that silicon and germanium have 4 valence electrons. Every silicon or germanium atom tends to share one of its 4 valence electrons with each of its nearest neighbor atom. These shared electrons pairs are referred to as forming covalent bonds or simple valence band. At low temperature, these bonds are not broken, hence there is no conduction. As the temperature increases, more thermal energy is available to these electrons and some of these electrons may break away, becoming free electrons contributing to conduction. The thermal energy effectively ionizes only a few atoms in the crystalline lattice and creates vacancy in the band. In the bond. The neighborhood from which the free electrons with charge minus Q has come out leaves a vacancy with an effective charge plus Q. This vacancy with effective positive electron charge is called a hole. That means when the electron has moved from valence band to the conduction band, a hole is created in the valence band. The hole behaves as an apparent free particle with effective positive charge. You please note here. The hole behaves as a positive charge. In intrinsic semiconductors, the number of free electrons Ne is equal to number of holes. That is, Ne is equal to NH is equal to Ni, where Ni is called intrinsic carrier concentration. Semiconductor possesses the unique property in which apart from electrons and holes also move. Under action of an electric field, these holes move towards negative potential, giving a hole current IH. And the total current I is the sum of electron current plus hole current. This also is a very important equation. You please note down. The total current is combination of electron current plus hole current. The conductivity of an intrinsic semiconductor depends on its temperature. Please note, in intrinsic semiconductor, it depends on its temperature. So, in intrinsic temperature, but at room temperature, its conductivity is low. Having studied about intrinsic semiconductor, let us study about extrinsic semiconductor. Please see the diagram. Here in extrinsic semiconductor, we add impurities and this process is called doping. Okay, this process is called doping. We add impurities. Now, what are the impurities? Let us go back to periodic table which we studied in our chemistry lessons. We know that silicon has got 14 electrons and it comes under group 14. And let us study about an atom of phosphorus which is in group 15. Group 15 and occupies next to silicon, that is group 15. We know that phosphorus has got 5 electrons in the valence band. See here, we add phosphorus to a large number of silicon. A very small quantity of phosphorus is added to group of silicon, to silicon metal. How we add it? There is a process called diffusion. Through diffusion, we add phosphorus to silicon atoms, a very small quantity. So this adding phosphorus to silicon, that is a semiconductor, is called doping. That means we are adding impurities to make it better flow. So this phosphorus has got 5 electrons. You see here 1, 2, 3, 4, and there is here another one. You see here, this is the electron of phosphorus atom. So this is free. So these 4 electrons of phosphorus combined form bonding with the neighboring silicon atoms as shown. This atom forms bonding with this atom forms bonding with this, and the other 1/5 one is left free. Similarly, we can also add, instead of phosphorus, we can add a group 13 atom, boron. Okay, boron from group 13, boron has got 3 valence electrons. See this diagram, boron. Here boron has got 3, 1, 2 and 3. Whereas silicon has 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. These 3 atoms valence electrons of boron form bonding with the neighboring silicon. Here it will form 1, here it will form another 3. But one gap is created. This electron has no partner here in boron. And we know boron atomic structure is 1s to the power of 2, 2s to the power of 2 and 2s p to the power of 1. So this is, either we can add phosphorus with 5 electrons, valence electrons, or we can add boron with 3 valence electrons. So this is impurity. The impurity here is boron. The impurity here is phosphorus. That is group 15, group 13. You see here, group 13. Boron is group 13, and this is phosphorus is group 15. We can add this or that, and we will see in our next slide what is the difference, what will happen if we add phosphorus, or what will happen if we add boron. Let us just state what we have studied in the previous slide. When a small amount, say a few parts per million, you see how much phosphorus or impurity they are adding, few parts per million of a suitable impurity is added to a pure semiconductor, the conductivity of semiconductor is increased manifold. So impurity is added to increase the conductivity. Such materials are known as extrinsic semiconductors or impurity semiconductors. So impurities are added, we are calling impurity. The deliberate addition of a desirable impurity is called doping. Doping, that is deliberate, purposefully we are adding a impurity. Okay, the required impurity purposefully, and the impurity atoms are called dopants. That means the phosphorus or boron in the previous example are called dopants. Such material is called doped semiconductor. The extrinsic semiconductor is a doped semiconductor. There are two types of dopants used in doping the tetravalent. Tetravalent means 4 valence electrons. 4 valence electrons of silicon or germanium. Pentavalent. What are these two types dopants? One is pentavalent, valency 5, that means 5 electrons, valence electrons, arsenic, antimony, phosphorus. In the previous example, we studied about the phosphorus. These are the pentavalent impurities. Trivalent, that means having valency 3. You see here. So these three electrons, valence electrons are indium, boron and aluminium, etc. These are impurities. You have to remember. The doping changes the number of charge carriers, hence the conductivity of the semiconductors. So by adding the dopants, we increase the number of charge carriers. So it increases the number of charge carriers and increases the conductivity. Silicon or germanium belong to the 4th group in the periodic table, and therefore we choose dopant element from nearby 5th or 3rd group, expecting and taking care that the size of dopant atom is nearly the same as that of silicon or germanium. Interestingly, the pentavalent and trivalent dopants in silicon or germanium give two different types of semiconductors, as discussed in the next section. So, if we add pentavalent, what will happen? And if we add trivalent, what will happen? We will see in the next section. N-type semiconductor. So, there are two types, as we discussed previously. There are two types, N-type. First we'll take N-type. Please see the diagram on the screen. Here we have added impurities. So here we have got added phosphorus as discussed earlier. There are 5 electrons. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 1 electron is free here. One electron is free here. So what will happen? This electron will occupy in the conduction band, and it is the electron of phosphorus occupies the energy just below the conduction band. The energy is such, phosphorus is such, energy of this extra phosphorus is not in this conduction band, it is just below the conduction band, maybe of the order of 0.005 electron volts, a small here. Okay, because it is donating electron, it is called N type of conductor. Because electrons are negatively charged and it is donating electron, it is called N type semiconductor. Please see here, this is also shown clearly in this diagram. This is the phosphorus, which has got 5 valence electrons, 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1 is additional. This is unbonded, it is not forming bond, this is a free electron donated by pentavalent, donated by phosphorus atom. When silicon or germanium is doped with a pentavalent element like arsenic, 5 valence arsenic or phosphorus. We can take even phosphorus also. In this example, where 5 valence elements of arsenic occupy the position of atom in the crystal lattice of silicon. 4 of its electrons bond with 4 silicon neighbors, while fifth remains a very weakly bound to its parent atom. As a result, the ionization energy required to set this electron free is very small, and even at room temperature it will be free to move into the lattice of semiconductor. That means the electrons of phosphorus here in this diagram occupying here very little of energy at room temperature, it may move to the conduction band and increase the property of conduction. Thus the pentavalent, this is called pentavalent, 5 electrons, dopant is donating 1 extra electron for conduction, hence it is called donor impurity. So it is a donor. The pentavalent dopant is a extra electron and conduction. Hence, in an extrinsic semiconductor, impurity is added, doped with pentavalent impurity, electrons become majority carriers and holes the minority carriers. These semiconductors are therefore called N-type semiconductors. So, pentavalent is a N-type. Pentavalent impurity, okay, in an extrinsic semiconductor doped with pentavalent impurity, electrons become majority carriers. Electrons are majority carriers. Note here, electrons are majority carriers. Holes are minority carriers. You have to remember all this. In pentavalent impurity, electrons are major carriers and holes are minor carriers, and semiconductor is called N-type semiconductor. For N-type semiconductors, we have number of electrons are more than number of holes, far greater than holes. P-type semiconductor. Please see the diagram. Here we have added the impurity from group 13. Group 13, lot more holes accepted because only 3 are there, a hole remains and electrons are moved. So therefore number of holes are more. Hence it is called positive or P-type because number of holes are more far greater than this one. These are divided in the boron is divided as 1s square, 2s square, 2p1. Hence 3r. Hence these holes, please note the diagram here. The holes reside just above the valence band and few electrons have moved here. Acceptor level. They accept electrons. P-type semiconductor is obtained when silicon or germanium is doped with trivalent impurity like aluminum, boron or indium, etc. The dopant has valence electrons less than silicon or germanium, and therefore this atom can form covalent bonds with the neighboring 3 silicon atoms but does not have any electron to offer to the 4th silicon atom. So the bond between the 4th neighbor and the trivalent atom has a vacancy or as a hole. See here, this is a hole. Since the neighboring silicon atom in the lattice wants an electron in place of a hole, an electron in the outer orbit of an atom in the neighborhood may jump to fill the vacancy, leaving a vacancy or a hole in its own site. Thus, hole is available for conduction. Okay, in P-type, hole is available for conduction, acceptor level. Thus, For such a material, the holes are majority carrier. In p-type, holes are majority carriers and electrons are minority carriers. Therefore, extrinsic semiconductor doped with trivalent impurity are called p-type semiconductor. For p-type semiconductors, the combination process will reduce the number of intrinsically generated electrons Ne. We have for p-type semiconductors, number of holes will be far greater than number of electrons. See here, three boron atoms occupy 3 bonding with the neighboring. This is left free because there is no electron with boron. Hence, this hole is created. So, what will happen? Electron from this will jump here. From here it will jump here. And here hole will be created. And when hole is created here, from another atom it will jump here. So, there is a movement of hole from one atom to another atom. Hence, holes are majority carriers. Now, we will end our discussions for this session here. We will also see for further studies, links are given not only here as well as in the description part of YouTube channels. Please go through and full details will be available. Thank you.